Hi, so today I'm going to talk about the ending of this movie Tu Jhoothi Main Makkar. Now, let me tell you in advance, if you haven't seen the movie, of course there are going to be spoilers here, so first go watch the movie, then watch this video. But if you're not planning to watch the movie at all, then just watch this video. So let's begin. Now, the movie clearly gave a very happy ending. We see at the end that they're all just living happily together, like happy ever after. You see this nice happy energy in the house, like people are also showing their complaints in a very loving, affectionate manner. They're joking with each other, and deep down everything there is just a lot of love. But some people did not like this ending for certain reasons. Let's first talk about those reasons and then I'll give my take on it. Some people felt that it was all just very one-sided, that Shraddha Kapoor just had to compromise alone. So she wanted privacy and Ranbir Kapoor wanted to live in the joint family, and at the end there was no middle ground. She just complied with him and all her needs were just ignored. So some people are basically finding that ending unfair. So here's my take on it. See, we all understand that joint families can be problematic, and that's partly the reason why she wants something private, which is like independent of the family. But I do want to acknowledge that there are good, happy joint families out there. Like, it is possible. Not all of them are going through hell or just extreme unhappiness. So even though the percentage of such happy families may be low, but they do exist. So technically, if you're somebody who's deciding whether to be a part of joint family or not, remember that there is some possibility. However, just don't forget that the likelihood is very low. Like, look at this family in the movie, right? When they found out that she's walking away because the family was getting too involved in their dating life, what was their reaction? They were not blaming her back. They were not hating her, criticizing her for feeling that way. They were actually finding faults among themselves. Like, why did you have to change the doctor? Why did you have to just get her to cook? Why did you have to interfere when we were lovemaking, etc.? And first of all, even this part is rare. Usually when members in a joint family hear that the daughter-in-law, the future daughter-in-law, is already finding some problem with their interaction, they take it very personally. Their ego is hurt. What? We are just loving you. We are trying to welcome you. We are trying to help you in every way, and that's how you react. So the reaction that this family gave in itself is pretty filmy, and you won't really find this in real life. But if you do find a family like that, you are a very lucky person. Another thing that I liked about the movie was that both of them technically were very clear about what they wanted, what they did not. At least their desires were clear. Although they were horrible at communicating with each other, that's why the movie went through such twists and turns, but at least they were clear. Like, she wanted space, he wanted to be in the joint family. Sometimes people are just not that clear, and they were clear to the degree that they were ready to sacrifice their relationship for what they really wanted. So their priorities were pretty clear to them. Now, that's another story if those priorities were rational or irrational, were wise or unwise, but at least they had clear priorities. And another good thing here was that both were technically looking out for each other. Like, Shraddha was leaving because she didn't want him to make the choice between the family and her, and he was also ready to walk away because he didn't want her to feel suffocated or frustrated or dominated in the long run. He didn't want her to give up on her desires. So that's again amazing. However, again, the way they executed this was terrible, because instead of talking about it, negotiating, compromising, they just chose to walk away. So even though there were these good elements, these pro-social elements, I still think there were a few flaws in how the things progressed. One of my worries is that this movie might give the wrong message to people who are looking for personal space, who don't want a joint family, let's say. Because they might end up with the message that, yeah, if Shraddha Kapoor can adjust in a joint family, maybe so can we, or maybe we are also supposed to do that way. So I hope that if you're listening to this, don't take any additional pressure to fit into a joint family after watching this movie. Second problem I have, again, is that this movie sets a slightly bad precedent for the couple here. Trying to sacrifice your needs to fit into a joint family can actually be considered a moral virtue, because you are doing something for the other. You are putting your needs aside, but a more important moral virtue is when husband and wife, they prioritize each other. And in this movie, again, there was this problem that when Ranbir Kapoor was talking about his priorities, or the differences in love that he has for parents, grandfather, nephew, sibling, and wife, he basically mentioned that there are no priorities here. These are all just unique and different. Well, I agree that these are all unique and different, but I disagree that there cannot be any priorities. There has to be priorities, and a couple must prioritize each other over all other loving relationships. A couple must become the central unit of the family. Why? First of all, it is simpler for the couple, because imagine the husband prioritizes his parents, his nephews, his siblings. Then the wife can say, well, I am equal to you, I can do the same. Let me bring in my parents, my siblings, my nephews. So any decision that you have to make, if you have to prioritize everybody else equally, there are just too many cooks in the kitchen. It will lead to a huge mess. So both have to agree that yes, we will listen to those other people, but we will make the final decisions within ourselves. We will ultimately prioritize each other's needs and expectations. We cannot possibly put others' expectations and desires at an equal level. There will be endless confusion and conflict. Even for parenting, this is a better idea, because in the family it must be clear who makes the final decision for the kids. And if the couple is not the central unit, grandparents or uncles and aunts, they can also take over. And that can also lead to a lot of conflict in decision making. And think about this, your partner is that person who you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with. And you have the most commonality with this person. You're probably going to share the maximum amount of time and responsibilities with this person. And you're also going to be the most intimate with this person. So the closeness that two partners have, it's on another level. It really cannot be compared to all other relationships. And that's why you must respect the uniqueness of this relationship and prioritize it over everything else. You can use the simple logic here. Prioritize the person who is going to have the maximum impact on your life. And turns out that person is going to be your partner. So it's good to be social. It's good to keep your extended family involved. It's good to keep your parents, siblings involved in your life. That's great. But you must know when there is a clear-cut clash, conflict, who should be your priority. And Ranbir Kapoor never really made Shraddha feel this way. So even though Ranbir Kapoor has the right to choose his priorities, I would just say that it is not the wisest choice of priorities. And finally, another bad precedent here is that we did not see compromise. So there was some talk where he says, like, if you had told me that you wanted privacy, you wanted space, you should have just let me know once and we could have found some solution. Like we could have had a separate floor or house. And when I heard that, I actually thought in the end, they're going to do this only. I thought the final solution for the movie would be they probably built a new house, maybe a house nearby, or just gave them a separate floor with their own kitchen space where she can feel that now I am living near the family, but I also have my own private space. But sadly, that did not happen. So what we see here is that Shraddha had to make all the compromise to make the relationship work, and Ranbir did not make any compromise. So I agree with that complaint that it did seem one-sided. Now, of course, it's a Bollywood movie, and it's not exactly their job to show the most moral thing. The movie is primarily for entertainment, but these movies do influence public opinions, public sentiments, even moral values, and that's why I thought I should give my take on it. So my conclusion here is, in most cases, joint families must be avoided. What's better is neighborhood families, where you live nearby, but you have your own separate space. Trying to find freedom and happiness in a joint family is like opening another pizza, pasta restaurant. The idea may seem exciting. Some people do become successful, but most likely in a year, you'll ask yourself, why the hell did I get myself into this? What was I thinking? So, you have been warned. Now, I really want to know what are your thoughts on the moral messages from the movie. Please tell me in the comments. Shridhar Life School now specializes in relationship counseling. We start with an in-depth checkup or assessment of your relationship, your strong and weak areas. Now, based on that, our therapists will help you using world-class techniques and interventions, which have been developed after decades of research in marital therapy. It's always better if both partners come for counseling, but if for some reason your partner is unable to join, you can definitely start on your own. To book sessions, visit our website shridharlifeschool.com.